we're as optimistic about Bitcoin as we ever have been, but there are a few regulatory and tax uncertainties, and we had been waiting for the discount between GBTC and NAV to narrow. It was as high as 50% at one point last year when there was great uncertainty around all of the turmoil in crypto generally, and now it's single digit. And there are now other products out there that we can use to gain exposure to Bitcoin in this moment, and it's just a moment of uncertainty between now, we think, and January 8th to 10th, somewhere in that range, perhaps. But we, out of an abundance of caution, didn't want to take any risk.
And I mean, let's get a little bit specific here, because we're talking about the ARK Next Generation Internet ETF. The ticker there is ARKW. And I think what caught a lot of people's attentions is that you completely sold down your remaining stake of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Instead, on the same day, you bought into the ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF. Of course, that tracks Bitcoin futures. It doesn't actually hold the physical Bitcoin. Can you explain that shuffle? What was the thinking there?
Sure. A couple of things. First of all, BITO, the ProShares, is already approved. There's no regulatory uncertainty having to do with it. So we chose to maintain our exposure through BITO for the time being. And as I mentioned before, there are some tax and regulatory uncertainties still as part of this process. We don't know exactly who's going to be approved and whether they've met all the criteria that the SEC has put before us. We know we have, but we don't know if others, including GBTC, have. We just don't know. So again, out of an abundance of caution, and GBT's discount, again, it was as much as 50% relative to NAV. So not only have we enjoyed this year the run in Bitcoin itself, but we've had the nice closing of that discount. So it's been, double good news for us.
But you've talked about January 10th, Cathie, I think in another report. Is that possible, whether it's you or somebody else, in terms of the first spot Bitcoin ETF actually getting approval?
Well, we think the probabilities have gone up because the SEC has been highly engaged compared to what was happening before. Before, it was just denying approval. And we just kept putting our filing in again, try,
Yeah.
dogged and determined. And so here we are. We think we're first in line, and that's why there is this January 10th deadline. But we like the idea that the SEC has been so engaged, and it's not just with us, it's others as well. We think a number of funds could be approved at the same time. And they've been asking not only one set of questions, but follow-up questions. And again, that's a very good sign.
Well, speaking of engaged, oh, go ahead, please. No,
Yeah,
finish.
the last few questions have been very technical. And so more de rigueur, and you'd expect them to be asking these questions as we head toward an approval. Now, it's not 100% certain, and so we want to make that clear as well. This is the SEC, and we never know, what might happen along the way.